Good morning and welcome everyone to Joe Olson versus Chris Hull in the Sweet 16 of the 2021 MPC. We've got Joe, who is the number one overall seed and defending world champion, playing Map for Darkside against Chris, aka Joker King, who is the 4 seed in that bracket, playing Watch Your Step for Lightside. And I am not entirely sure why the stream has... Okay. Looks like things got stuck for a second, but we're good to go now. This jump catch is back up. Pretty standard map start for Joe and pretty standard Watch Your Step start for Chris. We see a couple of shield pulls on both sides. Everyone gets a grabber. Joe will also get the Lost Pile interrupt shield. Joe's got 8 activation on his first turn. He's going to pull out his first Starkiller base site. And we see the new Exegol Sith Throne from set 14. He's going to pull out Palpatine there. Get some nice extra activation. And we see the new Emperor Palpatine. As we go, I'm going to try to adjust that text box so that it stays out of the way. And we see Captain Peavy being pulled with Imperial Command. Let me know if you guys can hear me in the chat. I know there aren't too many of you, but just like give me a thumbs up if my audio levels are good, or if you need me to adjust anything, need anything adjusted on the screen. Okay, great. I do this about 3 times a year, and I haven't done it since Worlds, so it's sort of a relearning exercise every time. We've got a docking bay pull from Chris. And looks like he's just gonna draw up on his first turn. Joe's also gonna draw the bottom card of his force pile. Joe goes to 13 cards in hand. Not sure if Chris plays Grimtash. If he doesn't, he should. Chris draws up to 12, saves 6, ships the turn back to Joe. Big activation of 15 for Joe on turn 2. Yeah, I hate when people have their video cover the chat. It's like there's got to be a way to do this so that people who are watching can see the game log, because the commentator's not going to cover everything, and sometimes you're going to miss something. You want to see the game log, or if there's any good smack talk going on. So I try to never cover the chat. We'll see what Joe tries to do for his second turn. He could try going to space here. First, he's going to look for a Starkiller base site. That's the obvious opening move of his deploy phase. And it looks like he whiffed on the site, so Chris is going to get a verify. Now Joe's going to come down with Kylo's shuttle. You don't see every map build these days still playing the shuttle and still playing original Kylo Ren, but it looks like that is the route that Joe has chosen to go. Shuttle deploys down to Tatooine. And Joe's going to get to pull a card from use pile with Bow. And going to put Kylo's lightsaber on Kylo. So this seems like it's not going to be the go to space turn for Joe unless he wants to, deploy a First Order Stormtrooper or somebody and fly the shuttle up. But against Watcher Step, that's probably not advisable. Pretty quick bow pull for Joe as well. He didn't really take much time thinking about that one. It looks like there was something there that as soon as he saw it, he knew that he wanted it. Apologize for drinking coffee on stream, but it's that time of day. And Joe's just going to draw some cards. Draws up to 16. He really must not think that Joker King plays Grimtash, or else he's got a lot of First Order Stormtroopers and whatnot in hand, and he wants Chris to play it used instead of lost. Well, yeah, but you're not on camera. Look, I try to keep my political views off of my stream, but two things I believe in strongly are, if you're going to do a professional broadcasting presentation, you should try to keep the eating and drinking on stream to a minimum. And I typically try to abide by that. And also, much more importantly, always play Grimtash. Second docking bay pull from Chris. And he gets out the new Corellia. This is the set 13 Corellia. Interesting. Chris is going to pull out Do or Do Not, which is not a shield that you typically see from Watcher Step, since the 7-side cancels Sense and Alter anyway, but he needs to play this Tunnel Vision before flipping, and he really wants to punish Joe if it doesn't resolve. Joe's going to grab that. I think that is a very good grab against Watcher Step. Oftentimes a player would say, why do you want to grab a Lost Interrupt? It's going lost. Anyway, it's not something that they can cycle. But against Watcher Step, which is a deck that tends to play interrupts from its Lost pile, you want to deny the opportunity for Chris to be able to play that card again using his Lost Pile recursion. So typically a deck like Watch Your Step, it'll play 2 Control Tunnel Vision combos, and if you have the chance to limit them to 2 Force Pile searches instead of 4 Force Pile searches, then this is one of the rare circumstances where you're going to want to grab a Lost Interrupt, and I think it's an excellent grab against this type of deck. So here we go. We see Melas to the Cantina, and then Wedge to the Docking Bay. Still 11 Force in Force Pile from Chris. That Wedge is forfeit 9, I believe. Base of 6, plus 2 from the objective, plus 1 from Insurrection. Matters not if he's hit by Kylo's lightsaber. And there's Jedi Luke down to the Cantina. I'm wondering what the plan is here from Chris, because if it's simply to move Melas over to join Wedge and sit in front of Kylo, that seems bad. Okay, here's Lando. This is the new Lando, for those of you who have not seen him, the one from the Solo movie. Deploy 2. And he is going to battle, which is maybe a bit surprising. He's going to use Lando's text to exchange a card in his hand with a Destiny 4 card in reserve deck. There are all kinds of ways where this can end poorly for Chris, especially with Joe having a 16-card hand. He gets, I've got a really good feeling about this. And, okay, now he's going to play Blast the Door Kid to exclude everyone except Wedge and the shuttle, and make Joe choose to either lose 2 Force or lose the shuttle. Not bad. I would still be worried about what this means for next turn for Chris, but he's basically trading his Blast the Door Kid for I've got a really good feeling about this. And Blast the Door Kid is not a very good card in the map matchup because of all the troopers. Chris is going to pull the Weapon Lev shield. That's probably a good preemptive pull against a deck like this that can fish out Destiny 4 interrupts, of which Weapon Lev is a Destiny 4 interrupt. Yeah, Nick, you can't Fallen Portal in a battle that you initiate. He could try to do that next turn, but Joe also has things like Sniper in the control phase, Clash, cards that are potentially even stronger than Fallen Portal, and Chris would presumably have far fewer characters at the site than Joe would. All right, so let's. Chris is going to play really good feeling to activate a force. So let's talk about the total trade of the battle that just happened. He essentially lost one force, Blast the Door Kid, and used one force to initiate a battle to make Joe lose two force, one of which was You Are Beaten. So that's important. The other one was Phasma, but it was a Phasma from hand, so you assume that there is a second Phasma in hand. And now he's going to run away. So everyone to the Cantina, which means that Chris flips back. Has the side benefit of giving Joe 2 extra force. Yeah, he guarantees that Blast the Door Kid is in his lost pile, but again, Blast the Door Kid is not a good card in this matchup in most situations. The only way that Blast the Door Kid works in this matchup is we see no escape from Joe, so now he is going to guarantee that You Are Beaten in hand. The only way that Blast the Door Kid works in this matchup is in the situation that we just saw, as we also see a force push, so essentially a tunnel vision of his own from Joe, or in a situation where the light side player doesn't have Wedge or any other, or Mirax or any other scrub character at a site, because Map is almost guaranteed to have multiple characters who get around Blast the Door Kid in battle. They're actually more likely to have such characters than the Watch Your Step deck is. Yeah, Eric, I guess it's possible he forgot Lando's ability 3. Although Lando is, a main character. Here's Finalizer with Peavy. Down to Jakku. And Hux as well, so bow pull. 15 card use pile after the massive force pile search. So Joe is really getting access to anything he wants here. Finalizer's going to move over to Tatooine. Shuttle's going to fly up and dock. It is worth noting that the way that the Tatooine system is worded, Joe is still limited to one battle destiny there. It doesn't say non-Imperial ship. It says, unless you're droid or independent starship here. Or I guess Trade Federation is what that symbol is, Trade Federation or independent starship. So Finalizer being a First Order starship doesn't qualify, so no Imperial Command or anything like that. Joe loses his other ship, the Steadfast, off the top to the Cantina Drain. So now Kylo's alone, and question is, does Chris try to go after him this turn? He's only got 5 cards in hand. Does he go to space elsewhere? I don't think he can challenge the Finalizer. Yeah, he's going to ignore Kylo. He projections the docking bay. And that is the only battleground docking bay on table, so nowhere else that you can really profitably transit Kylo from there. And he's just going to draw. He'll take 3 more this coming turn in drains from Joe. Sorry for the shaky screen. Just gotta try to manually move that thing so that it's out of the way of the cards. Joe's going to use his once per game Hux pull to take a First Order Stormtrooper. He gets 9s. Drain of 2 at the Tatooine system is going to be controlled. That's bad. Especially because control is grabbed. You're giving up your last force pile search, and you're paying 2 to do it. Drain of 1 at the docking bay. Chris loses. He's the best smuggler around off the use pile. I don't think you control the force drain there for the same reason why you probably don't Hujix 2 overflow. Like everything else being equal, which it's not in that situation. You're using 2 force to save a loss of 1 force, and you're also throwing away one of your best cards. Here's a Beat Squad from Joe. 9s. FN 2003. Snoke. Down to the Cantina. Bow pole with Snoke. And Chris will not be able to fall in Portal here. He's not flipped, so he can't play an interrupt from Lost Pile. Even if he could, this is one of those situations where Blast the Door Kid wouldn't help. Now that said, this is not the most imposing Beat Squad so far. Joe still does have 11 cards in hand and 10 force to spend. We're just going to take this all the way over here. General Pride as well. And Phasma, another bow pole. Now it's more imposing. Is this the effect that does stuff with Pride? Yes. Attrition against opponent is +2 at same location as Kylo, Pride, or Rey. And Mitaka for good measure. Battle at the Cantina. Snoke will force Chris to lose a force. Now, Chris is going to use Lando. Chris also did play Antilles Maneuver right before the battle to make all of Joe's weapons +1 to fire. So that would matter for 9s. FN 2003's ability isn't a weapon, I believe. It's just an ability. But it would make Joe have to pay 1 for 9s. Chris gets, it could be worse. He's got 3 force active. And now the inevitable Trooper Assault from Joe. I would expect to see Chris grab that, and he does. So 9s is going to pay a force to shoot at Lando. He misses. Draws a 2 for Weapon Destiny. Joe's going to play Imperial Command to add another Destiny. He's now up to 3 Destinies. He's only got 4 cards left in his reserve deck. Remember, Wedge forfeits for 9. I'm going to say that as many times as I can. Here come the Destinies. Joe's first one is a 4. Looks like someone has an option to modify that. Second one is a 2. And the final one is a 4. So that's a total of 10 Battle Destiny, and it'll be 12 Attrition. So, amazingly, Wedge does not cover on his own. Battle Destiny of 4 for Chris. So 12 Attrition, but a difference of 16 power in the battle. Still, I think Chris is only going to have to lose Wedge and one other character. Although Joe only has to lose 4 Attrition. Oh, Eric, you're right. He's not flipped. Wedge is only 7 forfeit. Yeah, so Chris will have to lose an extra character. It's probably going to end up with just Luke at the site. Unless he wants to get rid of Luke and keep the other 2. Looks like that's what he's going to do, but that'll flip the objective. And still owes 1 more in battle damage. Top deck's moving to attack position. And Joe gets to stack on I'll finish what you started. Chris just never really got anything going this game. Never got a chance to set up in space. Hasn't been to space at any point, which is, not something that you see very often from a Watch Your Step deck. And, he kind of needed to stack the Cantina to guard against what you just saw, but I think I probably would have liked to see him establish a space presence first. Get a system lockdown. Now you see him flash Merrick's with squadron assignments. She'll go to Corellia. I would have liked to have seen that first, and then let Joe sort of set up his plan, commit a few other characters elsewhere, and then go down hard to the ground somewhere. It didn't have to be the cantina. But trying to hold a sight with Watch Your Step against map while you set up space is a lot harder than trying to do it the other way around. Chris does not move Melas and Lando out of the cantina, so he is just leaving them in front of that beat squad for another turn. Although he is able to leverage Blast the Door Kid. I wonder if Joe plays. We were not given the lists as commentators, and I'd be curious if Joe plays Blast Door controls in his list. You wouldn't necessarily think so, but in a Trooper Beats deck, it's always a good card. Drain for 2 at Tatooine is going to be mitigated by It Could Be Worse. You know who we haven't seen in this game? Han Solo. Or Chewie. Or the Falcon. Players are even on cards in hand and just about even on life force at this point, but Joe seems to be way ahead on board. And now in his control phase, he's going to try to sniper Lando. And he gets him. And then he's going to stack the sniper on finish what you started. Sure now coming down to finalizer, so that's going to be a drain of 3 at Tatooine unless Chris is able to hold a third site for ultimatum. Joe wants to look at his destinies. And he'll initiate the battle, which will make Chris lose a force from Snoke, and then Chris will get to cancel it with Blast the Door Kid. Chris loses Outrider from his hand. He's going to pay 2 force, stack, Blast the Door Kid on Useless Gesture. And that's going to buy him a turn. You get the sense that this is a fairly important move phase for Joe, as he needs to decide how to position himself for the next turn cycle. Looks like he wants Dothold over with Kylo. And now changes his mind, asks for a revert, and it is granted. He's not going to move at all. Just going to draw. Good sportsmanship there from Chris, allowing the revert. No other actions had been taken. No information had been gained. Joe draws up to 12, passes the turn. So when you're looking at a deck like Map for a format like Match Play, it's got its pluses and minuses. The big plus being that if you're flipped, it shuts off your opponent's retrieval, which is huge in a match play situation, especially in the second game of the match. Not letting your opponent overcome a deficit, or not letting your opponent get a big win in because and keep a matchup close because they're not able to retrieve cards. The downside is, as we see Luke coming down to Jakku, flipping Joe back, the downside is it puts a lot of cards on the table. So despite the fact that Joe was sort of dominating this game, he's only got 16 cards in Life Force. Wild card with Rio Durant going to join Pulsar Skate at Corellia. Again, we don't have lists, but Eric, I'm not tracking for them, at least not at this stage of the game. We don't have lists, but I don't believe Joe has more than 3 ships in his deck. 2 of them are at Tatooine, and the other one's in his Lost Pile. So, yeah, we're going to see Chris spread out in space here without too much fear. Also expect that we'll see him pull Ultimatum shortly. Now the question is, does he have another Blast the Door Kid? Does he have a Hoojix? Does he have some way to not get blown out in this Cantina battle on the coming turn? Chris going to cycle a 6. That'll be his 4th card down once he recirculates. Saves 2. Waits till the last minute, but does remember to pull Ultimatum. couple things to keep in mind here if we move through this turn. If the play at the Cantina is a Hujix, and Chris doesn't have a way to actually cancel the battle, and then if Joe is able to come down and also battle Luke off of Jakku, and remember Luke doesn't have any immunity to attrition, then Joe would also be able to cancel the Starkiller base drain with Coward at that point. And Chris really wouldn't be getting any damage in. So what Chris needs in this situation is he needs a way to either cancel the Cantina battle or Hujix it, while at the same time being able to protect Luke from really anything that draws Destiny. And Chris is going to use Where's Han to take Han solo into hand. Yeah, Eric, it would also flip back Chris's objective. And it would flip both objectives for that matter. Chris pitches Kessel, which he's been holding, I believe, for most of the game. Also, where's Han and moving to attack position? Yeah, so here's Isard. See if Chris has a barrier or something. First Order Stormtrooper as well. First one of those that we've seen today. And he's going to battle. And just Battle Destiny. Joe draws a 2. Luke is gonna cancel and redraw. It's a 4. So what that does is, I guess, stop Joe from drawing multiple Battle Destinies at the Cantina. But if that's Chris's plan for the Cantina, that's a win for Joe. Eric, he doesn't have the force for It's a Trap. So there goes Luke. Map flips. Chris is going to, it could be worse, the Snoke damage for 1. Joe plays Trooper Assault. I don't think Chris has anything. So he didn't draw Destiny in the Luke battle. He's got that 6 on top. At least I think he has a 6 on top. I think he wants to draw that 6 here. He's also got to use or lose 1 to draw. He chooses to use 1. He's out of force. No, he draws a 3. There's the It's a Trap. And Joe's going to make that -3. So Hoojiks are bust here for Chris. He's down by 21. Joe will pay 1 to retrieve a trooper with Phasma. Retrieves the other copy of Phasma. And there is the Hoojiks. So I'm not, maybe someone in chat can tell me if I'm missing something, but I'm not entirely sure why Chris didn't draw Destiny in the Jakku battle. So we do see Coward from Joe. And now here's another copy of Luke down to Starkiller base. Yeah, the only thing I could think was if Chris didn't have the Hoojiks and he had the 6 on top, he didn't want to draw Destiny with Luke because he wanted to minimize the damage in the other battle. But, like, if that was Chris's hand, if I'm Chris, I definitely draw on Jakku. Try to see if maybe I can clear Isard. Not that I think Joe would, leave the Stormtrooper, but, give him the option and then try to beat down. And Chris no longer satisfying ultimatum either, so he's going to have to lose the full 3 force to this force drain. Mara coming down, EPP Mara, along with Dr. E combo. And Joe gonna play You Are Beaten. That's been in his hand since he no escaped it on, what, turn 3? And this could end the game. No force save for Joe. Can't play anything from his lost pile. He's gonna battle. He's gonna swing at Han. He's going to hit Han. Dr. E will operate. And what's Leslomi's forfeit? 5. So Chris covers 6 against 11 plus Destiny. Destiny's a 3 plus 1 from Hux, 4. Nine overflow. And Chris looks like he's gonna top deck it. If he top decks all of it, it'll leave him with 1 card. That's what he does. There's Chewie. He does satisfy both Battle Plan and Coward, so he will be able to drain for 3 on his next turn, but Joe can just lose that from hand, so not going to affect the diff. Probably worth draining and then just drawing the last card here. Eric, which Starkiller base train? He's blocking the site. He doesn't have a way to block the system. Yeah, and Chris draws up, and it'll be a win for 17 by Joe, who did not have a way to cycle a card. Lost piles 8 to 35, but the important number, win by 17. Can the shuttle make it over there? It's hyperspeed 3. He's at parsec 7. Oh, move the ship, disembark the shuttle, move the shuttle. Yeah, it didn't make a difference. Joe didn't have a way to cycle any cards, so he figured, whatever. True. Saves 2 lost pile out of the current difference of 27 in lost pile differential. Probably the optimal play. Alright, looks like players are going to take a 5-minute break. We will take it with them. We will be back for game 2. Don't go anywhere. Or if you do choose to go somewhere, go to twitch.tv/SWCCGPC, twitch.tv/Frimbazzle, or twitch.tv/KendallCastNetwork. So you can go places as long as you go to one of the PC approved places. We will be back.